What's up, A to Z Sports? Not live for a Tuesday on a Monday, but we are recording this show because we're taking a little break this summer, deep summer, 4th of July week, bookended on a Friday holiday for us. But man, Monday had a lot of NFL news, so we're here to break it down and how it might just reach the Titans as far as movement around the NFL as we get into the month of July. So happy July, everybody, as we officially flip the calendars on the Tuesday that this show will air. I'm Austin Stanley and Easton Freeze. Easton, even though we're not live, tell the people what they got to do here because we're about to talk about a tight end trade bait from the Titans based off of the Dolphins and Steelers blockbuster trade that went down on Monday. So get the people going this morning, then we'll dive into a conversation that I think has a decent chance of maybe materializing a little bit. We'll see what type of legs this could have, but welcome in. Let's get it going.
Yeah, good morning, people of the internet, folks that are watching the show here. I am happy to not be with you live on the Tuesday morning, where I'm sure right now I am enjoying my time still in bed, probably awake because I have a young daughter, but not here in front of my camera nonetheless. So that's a win, and I take that. I am happy to be talking with you, Austin, today about the tight end situation that has become a big part of the news cycle here on a Monday, and looking forward to the conversation. We need you to like the show. Even though we're not here with you live, we are still producing content for you each and every morning because we know that you guys is a part of the routine, and we appreciate you guys making us a part of your routine. So we're going to get something to you one way or another. So like the show this morning, jump into the comments and talk with each other. Vote, make a friend, say hello. It's like the beginning of a church service. I want you to turn around, say hello to your neighbor, introduce yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, folks. Hey, good morning to you. Hey, nice to see you guys here on a Tuesday morning. And, you can talk about how stupid Austin and I are. We can't even react to it because we're not here with you right now. So that's a bonus for you. So like the show on Facebook, on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, and then, leave a 5-star Google review this morning. A great thing to do here on a Tuesday morning for us. All right, Austin, let's dive into today's topic.
Yep, A to Z Sports here on a Tuesday. Shout out to our sponsors because we're not live, but we got to make sure we shout them out because they make everything happen for us and they help out all of you. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon. Online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. And Lipscomb Universities and their sports analytics grad program. Online degree, turn that passion into a career at Lipscomb University with their sports analytics program. So Easton, a lot of analytics. I don't know what the analytics would say about the trade that went down on Monday because I don't know, roughly an hour or so after we were done with Monday's show, all of a sudden Jalen Ramsey goes to the Steelers, but he wasn't alone. Johnny Smith, former Titans tight end, goes and rejoins Arthur Smith in Pittsburgh. So big blockbuster trade between the Dolphins and Steelers laid out for us.
Yeah, in what was just the sloppiest bit of news breaking ever. I don't know why this was presented the way that it was, because it was essentially a 2-for-1 player trade that was announced one player at a time with 15 minutes in between the players. So we all saw that Jalen Ramsey being traded from the Dolphins to the Steelers. That part, if you follow Pretty Ricky, some other fringe insiders on the internet, you knew that was probably coming for a couple of weeks now. But hey, it finally happened. The compensation, unclear. Then it turns out that the Steelers were sending back Minkah Fitzpatrick, the safety, who was originally traded from the Dolphins to the Steelers a couple of years ago. Everybody's like, wait, what? A 1-for-1 trade? It was even presented that way by some of the main insiders, a rare 1-for-1 trade in the NFL. But it wasn't a 1-for-1 trade, because then it came out 15 minutes after that the Dolphins were also sending Johnny Smith and that there were picks involved. So all told, after this terrible bit of reporting, the trade was the Dolphins sending Jalen Ramsey, cornerback, and Jonnu Smith, tight end, as well as a 7th-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick, the safety, and a 5th-round pick. So a couple of players, a couple of picks involved. Not a trade we're going to spend a ton of time breaking down on today's show. Kind of a mid-off, in my opinion. I don't really know.
Well, I think another thing too is that
I don't think either team got significantly better from this. I'm not really sure.
The Dolphins now save $10 million of cash and cap space as well.
Sure,
because they sent 2 players. Jonnu Smith got an extra year on his contract for $12 million. And so I don't know who won. I think this was it seems like a pretty solid trade because the Steelers needed more cornerback help. They wanted
It's
more
a trade
cornerback
you make
help.
when you're bored in Madden Dynasty. Like
Well, I
again,
mean,
I don't
it
think
was
it makes
June
either team
30th.
better. Right. But
Maybe.
I don't.
The Dolphins are in flux, and I think this is where it's going to get to the Titans. The
Right.
Dolphins are in flux.
Yes.
The Dolphins could either push for a playoff spot or crap out again. And if they crap out again, who's going to be there next year? If they push for the playoffs, who's going to be there the year after? I don't know. Like Mike McDaniel could get fired. Like who knows? Like it is a weird time.
Now, when you
for
look
the
at the
Miami
books for
Dolphins.
Miami, I mean, no, they have intentionally set themselves up after this year to have very little financial or even like narrative attachment to anybody. Like there's room, I think, in the zeitgeist for them to move off of certain guys, fire certain guys. Like this is a year that nobody really knows what the deal is. I think the only true winner in this trade is Arthur Smith, who just gets his boy back. In the article, I described the reunion of Jonnu Smith and Arthur Smith as Jonnu going to join his new offensive coordinator / old head coach / old offensive coordinator / old offensive coordinator
/ old position coach.
Thank you. Yeah. So they both cut their teeth. They both cut their teeth as tight end coach and tight end with the Titans. And then just every stop, they have been inseparable. And that 23 personnel play that they roll out week 1 with Jonnu Smith and a pair of other tight ends on that. Darnell Washington is going to be out there playing essentially offensive tackle. You're going to have a pair of backs in the Caleb Johnson in the black and gold still from college. It's going to be disgusting. And DK Metcalf is going to be mad immediately. And it's going to.
Oh, and don't forget awesome. Aaron Rodgers is the one.
Right. Aaron is there. So I'm sure it's going to work. Right.
So with all that, you sent me this tweet from Tom Pelissero. Dolphins are now in conversations with multiple teams about acquiring a tight end after sending Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh per sources. A wild start to the holiday weekend could get wilder. Now, hopefully it hasn't gotten wilder before the time this airs and from the time that we recorded it, because there is a few hours in between.
Did you say wild start to the weekend?
Wild start to the holiday week.
I was about to say weekend, brother. It's Monday. But
I might have said weekend.
Like. Oh, okay, okay.
So anyway, so this led you to start putting pen to paper, if you will, on an article on A2Zsports.com about how this could affect the Titans and some tight end trade bait, because the Dolphins now need a tight end. The Titans have a lot of tight ends. Do they have too many tight ends? We've had a couple of conversations the last month of the offseason of what are the Titans going to do at tight end? Do they keep Odukoya as the 4th, or is Josh Wiley going to get cut? Is he going to get traded? So take us through kind of your understanding of the current standing of the tight ends room for the Titans.
Yeah, I guess might as well do this now. I haven't written about this yet in the 53-man roster projection series that I've been doing on A to Z Sports, which if you've missed it, I recommend catching up, kind of going into detail on individuals and position groups, one article at a time, giving basically all of the insight I have on everybody on the entire roster. So it is as thorough as I can get. And I'm making my way through the roster with those. Have not yet written about the tight ends. Going to do that at some point this week, maybe even the day that I'm speaking to you here on a Tuesday. But I have the tight end room. I told Austin this the other day. It's the first time I think since the end of last season that I have been loudly wrong about something on the morning show. And I've now been loudly wrong twice about it. Now, in my
first time you've been loudly wrong since the end of the season?
I mean, I challenged somebody to find me a thing in my capacity as a reporter that I have been loudly wrong about since the end of the season. I don't think there has been one until this.
As a reporting aspect, you've been wrong about so many other things.
Well, yeah, predictions. People, yeah,
and remember the Titans review, and
and there's subjective things that you think I'm wrong about when I'm actually right about them. But
Billy Madison,
the thing, a forgettable show. The thing about the tight end room that I want to defend myself a little bit on is that I don't know if anybody in this market is talking. And if they are, I apologize. But I've not seen anybody get this tight end room right. In the more conversations that I've had, I'm not just changing my mind to change my mind. It has come to my attention that the Titans tight end room is going to be 4 players, probably, maybe 3, but I think it's leaning 4 right now. And Josh Wiley is not going to be one of those guys. So before spring practices, I was talking about how, hey, this room's really easy. The running back room and the tight end room, both, there's 3 obvious guys. Everybody else doesn't stand a chance. Cool, great. You've got Gunner, you've got Chig, you've got Josh Wiley. And then we talked about, I kind of gave a mea culpa episode during minicamp. I was like, I actually think I'm wrong about this. Josh Wiley, I still think is on the roster, but I don't think he's the lock that I thought he was. And Thomas Odukoya, I think, could play that inline blocking wide tight end role for this team that they used a lot last year. And they're going to need that guy. And he's kind of the only guy on the roster right now that can do that. So I think he's on the team. I dismissed him foolishly. Now, final answer. And I swear that I'm not changing my mind again on this because this is in stone. I'm putting my foot down on this. This is it.
This is the overview of where the Titans tight ends are on July 1st.
Correct. Barring injury or trade, which we're going to talk about here in a second. This is the situation as it exists in reality, but people don't realize it yet. Josh Wiley is going to have an incredible August to make this team. And we talked about in the last episode we did on the tight ends, where we talked about Thomas Odukoya, you and I both said at the end of that conversation, well, you can't just cut Josh Wiley. Like, you either trade him. We talked about a trade then, possible. And we talked, you either keep him as your 30 or 4th tight end or you trade him, but you can't just cut him. He's too good. And I did think that. And I think you and I were wrong about that. I think you super can cut Josh Wiley because two things about Josh. One, he has not produced in the way that they need him to produce. And that's just the skinny of it. On the field, off the field, hasn't been to the level that he needs to be at, as well as the development. Number two, and I think the more important thing that it feels obvious when you say it, and I don't know how we didn't see this in the first place, even at his best, Josh Wiley at his best, which I'm not saying he's never going to, maybe he does achieve his best this year. It's possible. His best still doesn't offer you anything that the rest of the Titans tight end room can give you. And that's where we get to David Martin Robinson, DMR, the guy who we've not talked about at all. I've heard very little about from anybody in this market. And he's making the team. Whoops, we were wrong. Like, surprise, David Martin Robinson's making the Titans team. They like him a lot. There's just I can't explain. There's just a big fat disconnect between what the public thinks and what the Titans coaches think.
Does DMR know he's making the team?
Like, I'm pretty sure he knows. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I don't know.
So it's in the building. It's obvious.
I mean, he doesn't know that he's making the team because you don't tell guys that they're making it. Yeah, but to the coaching staff, I think that to them it's pretty obvious that DMR is going to make this team and that he is a quote unquote core special teamer. That's a consistent disconnect between the public and, we talk all the time about how core special teamers can be worth their weight in gold to coaches, and it's just hard for somebody that watches football on Sunday. And I feel the same way. I'm not like saying, oh, you stupid fans. I get it. I have to constantly think about this myself. We underestimate the value of those guys to the people who have to do the thing on the coaching staff.
Well, and let me just jump in here on this.
Yes.
The last Titan season was the perfect example of how when you ignore special teams, all hell breaks loose. Because block punts, allowing big returns, fumbling things, blown assignments all over the place and what do I mean by core special teams? It's return units on punt and kickoff, and it's coverage units on punt and kickoff. And then you have field goal, both sides of it, right? So like you've got it, and those field goals are a little different, but the two punt and kick return and coverage units, it's so important because the game can be absolutely lost in those moments more often than it can be won. And the Titans overlooked it to a point to where, they were losing games because of how bad their special teams were.
I actually you mentioned the actual definition of a core special teamer. I asked somebody on the Titans coaching staff yesterday to just define core special teamer and like whether or not that's just a term we use to talk about good special teams guys or a literal thing, like a designation. And it is pretty much a designation. And there are 2 or 3 of those guys at any given point on any given roster. And they are people that they're 4-phase starters on special teams, right? So they have they have clear roles on every special teams team, every unit, return, kickoff, punt, protection, all those things. And it's usually a running back, linebacker, or a tight end. And it's usually your 3rd or 4th guy in those rooms.
Body types,
Right. Body type wise, safety as well as another guy. You occasionally can have a receiver like NWI at his peak was a core special teamer.
Bryce Oliver, we just talked about.
Yeah, I think he absolutely is on track to become that for the Titans, a rare receiver in that role. And DMR is that guy. Now they also see a lot of upside in the guy as he's, currently I think the backup F tight end to Chig Okonkwo. And in the trade scenario we're about to talk about, if they traded Chig Okonkwo, he would become your starter. And I think that'd be a real leap. We can talk about how comfortable you may or may not be with that. But he's somebody that's making this team. So it's going to be Chig and Gunner and DMR, and then probably Odukoya, maybe sort of, we'll see. He's going to be given every chance in training camp to prove that he can be what is an exceedingly rare player in the NFL today, a true inline blocking wide tight end, not a guy that lines up there and runs routes and tries to block and is like inconsistent and kind of fails. No, a guy that's his job, was to be a glorified lineman in that way.
Yeah.
And there are very few of those guys in the NFL. It's kind of, one of the Titans coaches described it to me as the lost art of the pure wide tight end role. They think that he can be that. And if he can, that impacts how you put together your offensive line depth chart. Maybe you keep 9 instead of 10 because you feel like you've got that guy at the tight end room as your fourth tight end. Or maybe he's a guy that you keep on the practice squad who you call up a couple of times during the year. Right. That's kind of the flip-flop there. But I don't, barring an incredible August or an August with a lot of unforeseen things, I don't know how Josh Whyle makes this team. And I was, hand up, dead wrong about that a month ago.
So we're looking at what Pelissero is saying. The Dolphins are looking to acquire a tight end. And you wrote this Monday at A2ZSports.com. Josh Whyle is someone whose job security is at an all-time low right now. The public may not have caught up to that reality yet, but reality nonetheless. At his best, Whyle is a redundancy of the Titans roster today. Everything he offers can be gotten from other players in the room, and that makes him eminently tradable. Mike Berganzi needs to be upselling the heck out of Josh Whyle to the Dolphins as well as anybody else who would listen. So that, when you talk about redundancy, Josh Whyle is not as good as Chig doing what Chig is, but he can do it. Same thing goes with, he's not as good as Gunnar Helm is at doing what Gunnar Helm's good at, but he can do it. And same thing with DMR. What he can't do is do what Thomas Odukoya can offer.
Right. So let's break that down. So like at his best, what is Josh Whyle? He's a receiving type wide tight end.
Yeah.
Who is a serviceable but not great blocker, right? Is that, I think, a fair characterization of him?
Yeah.
So
and he's also really long too, which makes it harder to be.
That's a great point. He's a huge target in the red zone, which is like physically large, which is a very valuable thing to quarterbacks. You can just kind of throw it in their vicinity. They can go get the ball. And that's a real skill set of his. I don't want to undersell that at all.
No.
But, and that, his size is really the only thing that you can't get. The size of him as a target in the red zone is the only thing you can't get with the other guys. In terms of the other skill sets, as a receiver, at his best, he can be a good receiving tight end, but not as good as Chig at his best or Gunner at his best. And I don't think that's really close or debatable. As a blocker, he can be fine, but definitely not as good as Odukoya. I think the Titans coaching staff would tell you not as good as DMR, and Gunnar Helm will have to see what he turns into in that capacity. And then, and this may be the most crucial element of it, as a special teamer, he offers you nothing. DMR and Thomas Odukoya both offer you something in that regard. Chig did. He's kind of graduated out of it. And Gunnar Helm is a rookie. They'll probably ask him to do some things there. So, again, every element of a tight end's game, at his best, he can, and that's what we're going to, people maybe in the comments right now yelling, well, if he's so bad and the Titans are going to get rid of him, who would trade for him? He can be a useful NFL player, but on this team, right now, he's not needed. That's kind of the point we're trying to make.
Yeah, he's a surplus.
Yeah, one of the only surpluses the Titans have across the whole roster. It's a very unique situation that they have.
So let's talk about this.
Because any team right now is like, we need X player. I can't go write a Titans article because we don't got anybody to give you. So somebody's looking for depth at edge. So are we, brother. I'll let you know.
They have a surplus of tight ends all of a sudden. How?
Right.
And I think it's because one, Gunnar Helm has impressed early, and two, we forgot about DMR.
We totally just forgot. Sorry, David.
About him. And then Thomas Odukoya provides something that they don't have elsewhere. And maybe Thomas Odukoya is a better jumbo blocker than John Ojukwu or something, right? So that's kind of the decision they're trying to make. So, all right, so where do we go from here? Because you also wrote about Chig in this article on, do you trade Chig? Because obviously Chig's trade price is better to, you're going to get a better draft pick or a better whatever for Chig Okonkwo than you are Josh Whyle. Chig has an expiring contract. Josh Wiley's got 2 more years of control this season and next season. So, I mean, I don't know if you have a question to throw out there about where we're at here, because you bring up the Chig situation, and that feels like weirdly aggressive, but in like not a productive way.
I totally get what you're saying, and that's kind of the rub for me. So here's my first question to put a bow on Wiley. I think this is pretty clear based on the characterization that we've laid out. But I mean, what's the price, the asking price in that trade? That would be that. I mean, that would be the Dolphins, because there are other big names across the league in conversation already. Mark Andrews is a guy that the Ravens could move off of because they've got his heir apparent already, and Mark is aging. Kyle Pitts is a guy that has been in the news all offseason, and I guess for eternity, because even when he's not good, he remains a hot topic forever and always. If the Dolphins wanted to shop in the, real bargain bin, that'd be the Josh Wiley trade, right? That would be, hey, we're not looking to, and because they may really not want to. You laid it out. Like, is this a team that what is this team this year?
What are the Dolphins right now?
What are the Dolphins? It's
they are choose your own adventure novel. Right. But also, like, they're not the one choosing. It's just, does Tua stay healthy? Does Tua get hurt? Is Tyreek Hill still fast? What happens with everything on their roster? Like, there's so many different variables and twists and turns the season can take for the Dolphins.
Right. So is that the kind of team that's going to go take a bigger swing on a tight end in a trade?
Right.
I'd kind of be surprised, right? And when they went and got Jonnu in the first place, he was a 2-year, $8 million and change signing in free agency, which is, I'd say, a middle of the road contract for a tight end in free agency, but it's certainly not taking a big swing. And then they turned him, unfair to Jonnu. Jonnu came in and produced, and they ended up flipping his value in a way. With Wiley, I actually think if they were interested in that tier of a trade, the reason why I think this makes sense, and I wrote this in the article, I think he would make a lot of sense for them in terms of what they need and what he needs. I think it's a good pairing. They need somebody who they don't need him to be an inline blocker. They've got that role, which is fine because he's not good at it.
I was going to go through the Dolphins tight ends because I'm
sure.
I don't think I know any of these people.
Okay. Well,
Hayden Rucci, who is 6'5", 247. That's a pretty solid size.
Dirty work guy.
Julian Hill, 6'4", 250, another
Same.
big boy. Jalen Connors, 6'4", 265, large. Mm-hmm. Tanner Connor, who is 6'3", 232.
They have a Connor and a Connors in the tight end room?
Yes.
Hate that.
Yeah, and then Pharaoh Brown, who is 6'5", 246. So they got a bunch of like bigger bodies that I don't necessarily see being down the field like weapons.
Nope, none of them. And so they would have Josh come in and be a receiver type Y tight end so that's the good thing. You're not having to have him block. Great, because he's not very good at it. The other thing is he would see very little man coverage because of the amount of speed that offense is literally built upon, like with Tyreek and Achane and Waddle. Those guys, teams can't afford to play man against them. And so he would just be asked to be a zone beating receiver, taking advantage of mismatches up the spine of the defense. That's what Josh Wiley is at his best doing. So I think that it would make a lot of sense for them. What the price would be, I mean, you don't lead with this, but I'd take anything, right? I mean,
anything. I mean, Josh Wiley was a 5th round pick in 23, right? So, and Josh Wiley's, for the record, 6'7", 248. So a lot, several inches taller than anybody the Dolphins have on the roster and roughly the same weight. So body composition, distribution, very different
build.
Yeah. Which, I think it's a good fit. So, I mean, if you can get a 5th round pick for Josh Wiley, which is not going to happen, then that would be incredible for the same thing you spent.
I think they're cutting him. So I'd take a 7th. I'd take a future 7th. I'd take anything.
And just to clear things up, the trade that they just made with the Steelers, those draft picks were all 2027 draft picks as well, not 26 draft picks.
Good point. Yep.
So like, how far down the road are you trading these picks away? I don't think it matters. I think you kind of made it clear that Josh Wiley is unlikely to make the Titans 53-man roster, barring injury to the position. So if you're preparing yourself to cut the surplus, then why not get something back that you can use as a chip down the road to improve your roster in a different way?
Bingo. So now that brings us to Chig. And the reason Chig has to be involved in this conversation is because of his contract situation and Gunnar Helm. It's those two things, right? Let's establish this off the top, because I saw, in the couple of hours this has been floating around the internet, I've seen some kind of crazy things said about what Chig is and people's perceptions of his value. Some people are really high on him. Some are as low as possible on him. They think, I saw somebody say that, I'd trade Chig because I think he's a cut candidate. No, super not correct. That's crazy. He's a starter. He's a starting player on an NFL team. Super not a question about that. Now, is he inconsistent at times? Is he on an expiring contract? Is he liable to be passed up by rookie Gunnar Helm at some point this year? All of those things, yes. But he is a valuable starter who secretly, folks don't like, Titans fans, reminder, he's been like your second or third highest producing receiver in the past 2 years. Like, people don't realize it, but he's been one of the only guys out there catching passes and running with the ball. It's not been impressive.
It's been streaky, and it's come when it doesn't matter. Like,
correct,
almost every time, except for the Texans game when he had like the 85-yard touchdown from Levis, and that was one of the 3 games they won.
Yes. Now I'm with you on that. I'd combat it a little bit by saying in the last 2 years, how much of the Titans games that they've played have mattered. A lot of them they are already out of the game super early, or they're already out of the season. So it's like, nobody's had a ton of opportunities for high leverage plays on the Titans the past couple of years. That being said, I hear what you're saying, that the streakiness is what's frustrating with him. But I also think that streakiness
early in the season, the games matter, right?
Yeah.
And here's the yards accumulated in a game by Chig in the first 5 games of the season: 15, 16, 15, 5, 6. And that was last year, and there was a lot of problems. The quarterback's to blame too, not all Chig, but like 15, 16, 15, 5, and 6. He had 3 catches on 3 targets for 6 yards against the Colts in week 6.
I get what you're saying. I think he's pretty firmly established himself as a back half of the season player who momentum is a thing for him during the season. And that makes him a bad fit for the 2023 and 2024 Titans, because they are a not back half of the season team, not even close. I wouldn't call them a first half of the season team either. They've just been bad teams. So I think he is super valuable for a rookie quarterback in particular, and for Cam Ward. And I think we have a graphic that we can throw up. Like, I wrote about how I think that he is somebody that is, like I wrote, reliable enough, established, knowledgeable. And I think he could mesh really, really well with Cam Ward's style of play. We hope that Cam Ward is going to be the best quarterback he's ever played with in the NFL. And Cam threw the heck out of the seam ball in college, which is what Chig runs the best and the most of on the Titans roster. So I don't think it's crazy to wonder if there's a connection between those two, that it gets established this year if he doesn't get traded. That looks like Cam and Elijah Arroyo, who was his big tight end target at Miami and was drafted relatively highly for the production that he put up. But the reason he has to be included, and this is where I want your opinion on this, Austin, is because this is the last year of his rookie deal. And they drafted Gunnar Helm because they're already having to start to think about the future of the tight end room on this team beyond 2025. And while I think he's very valuable to the team this year, beyond this year, I can think of many timelines that involve Chig's time in Tennessee being up, whether that's a money issue, how he produces this year issue, which can go either way, right? He could have a really crappy year and they don't want to bring him back, or he could have his best career year and he prices himself out of the market. Right. And or third option, Gunnar Helm has the year that they hope that he has, and he takes over as the starting tight end, and then you don't want to pay Chig to be kind of a redundant.
And you have DMR to be Chig next year, right?
Right.
All of these things. So I guess my answer is I'm not up for trading Chig, because
at all.
No.
Okay. No price? Well, there's no price? What's the price?
Okay. Like, there's no realistic price.
So let me ask you this. Would you recommend the Titans inquire about what the Dolphins would be willing? Like, do you make that phone call and just say, hey, what are y'all interested in Chig?
I make the phone call because they're interested in tight ends, and I have Josh Wiley that I want to get rid of. right?
Okay.
And so they're going to
Knock
ask.
out both of those things on the call.
Yeah, they're not dumb. Like the Dolphins are going to ask about Chig.
Yeah.
And I would hear the price for sure. But like, I don't think it's smart to do that because Chig is an investment in your first overall draft pick quarterback. And I think you need to give that quarterback an opportunity to have a more reliable tight end to start his career, to see how that plays out. Because I don't want to slam the door on Chig not being back until I have to.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
I would be happy if the Titans were in a situation where at the end of the year, man, Chig balled out. Can they afford to keep him? And then what's the benefit of that?
Mhm.
Cam Ward's cheap. Chig balled out. You're not paying anybody else in the offense really at all. So, I mean, what's that price to bring him back to build on that momentum? So I would love to have that conversation. And if you trade him away before you even get to week 1, then you can't have that conversation. You have no idea.
But as we established at the beginning of this Chig conversation, he's kind of a Rorschach test player in a way. Like you can look at what he's done so far in the NFL and you can see the good in it and you can certainly see the bad in it. And
but I can also look at the quarterbacks that have been throwing the ball the first 3 years and say I can see the bad in that too.
And that's the good. That's where you see the good in it. No, I know there you can. It's easy to make excuses for him. It's also easy to be like, hey, this has been a frustrating player. And so I think my opinion on this would be different if Rand Carthon was still in the building. Like I am always wary whenever a new regime takes over, and especially with a regime like this that has already made it pretty clear that there's no love lost for them with guys that aren't their guys, right? Yeah. Like, so
but with Chig, Chig's talented enough to take it 70 yards to the house. We saw it.
Totally agree.
So let's see that with a quarterback that they all deemed was capable of the #1 overall pick.
Okay, so one, I think there's a chance that I'm not going to rule out the idea that this front office may already kind of be like, we're gonna, unless Chig blows our socks off this year, we're gonna move on in some form or fashion. That's just not maybe it's a philosophy thing, maybe it's their opinion of him. But here's the question, Austin. If we flash forward a week from today, you and I are on the morning show, and the leading topic is very obvious. There has been a report, and guess who reported it? It was Easton Freeze, great reporter over A to Z Sports. He found out through his hard work and detailed inside sourcing that the Titans and the Dolphins had a conversation, and the Dolphins were entertaining sending a future 3rd-round pick for Chig Okonkwo, and the Titans said, we're all right. The Titans turned down a 3rd. Is that
how far in the future?
26. A 26.
26?
Sure. They turned that down. What is your reaction to that news?
That's tough.
It's tough, right?
Yeah.
So what? Okay. What if it's a 26th fourth? What is a 4th? No, I know. Don't put it. Set it aside for now. Less tough. Is that what you said? Less tough.
Yes.
What I'm trying to get at is, for me, because I'm with you that in general, I'm going to feel uneasy about the trade, no matter what. No matter what, unless it's a 1st or 2nd round pick, fine. But if it's a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th or a 6th, I'm going to feel uneasy about it because of what you said, where it's kind of like aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. Is it really what's best for? And what, in my opinion, I think everyone's opinion, what's most important this year, Cam's development. That's what's most important. And whether folks realize it or not, Chig is going to be a big part of that if he's here. Third round pick or 3rd round value, whether it's a pick or a day 3 pick and a player in return, whatever that looks like. That's the line for me, because folks want to know, like, well, what is the price? What's the price? That's the line for me where I get it. If it's a late day 2 pick, I get it. Yeah, okay. I don't feel good about it.
I'll say it this way: is which is more valuable, the 76th pick overall in the 26th draft, or Cam Ward having another weapon to help him be better as a rookie?
I hear you. Well, and so that's why I'd be really uncomfortable about
the 76th pick could be, I don't know, Nicholas Petit-Frere. Wasn't too far off of that.
Always could be, yes, but
it could be. It could be Kevin Byard, who is 62 or 4 or whatever. But like it could be a bunch of different things. 3rd round picks are Tajay Spears. It could be Nate Davis, right? Like Titans 3rd round picks of the past have been really good, really bad, or very like, all right, solid.
Well, and that's the last bit of this to me is, if they, for whatever price, if they did move him or even entertained moving him, that's a pretty strong signal, in my opinion, as to how they feel about the other guys in this room. Their confidence in Gunner immediately hitting the ground running. Their confidence in DMR, the guy that we have all forgotten, unfortunately, because DMR For all of their F tight end needs, if they moved Chig, they'd be turning to DMR to be that guy. And I don't know, at its best, what does that look like? I think at its very best case outcome, that is still a clear and significant tier down from what Chig is likely going to offer you. And so what does that look like for Cam Ward? It's a great question, but it's interesting, right? Because I think both of these guys, I think there will be a phone call and both of these guys will be discussed.
Yes, but I don't think that it'll be anywhere close to the price that we just talked through. And
I agree.
I still think having Chig for Cam Ward is more valuable than a mid third round pick. Because
even if they already decided that they're
you have Cam Ward. You have Cam Ward now. You don't know what that third round pick could be.
Totally.
So I want to protect what I've invested in now, the quarterback that could take you to where, if Cam Ward hits, then who gives a damn about the third round down the road, right?
Right.
So I think that's where I'm at overall.
And so what you're saying is you would rather you are willing to pay the price of him walking for nothing a year from now. Not even a compensatory pick, because the math you could end up just not getting a pick because of the way that the free agency works, and not have what you get for him now. You'd pay that price, the opportunity cost is what I should say, for the security in your mind of having Chig this year for Cam.
All that matters this year is Cam Ward, because he either opens a window or you just keep spinning.
Right. I'm with you.
So, all right. Well, that's it for this recorded show. We won't do trivia, even though it's on the graphic. We would have
gone 9 for 9. You guys, you would have blown your socks off.
It would have been like geography. We're like, or 90s TV sitcoms or something, which is not
your bag,
and definitely not yours either.
No,
there could have been a lot of different places and categories that we would have just.
We need to phone a friend and Nick Suss on.
We would have just been sitting here like, what do we do? Like, we don't know the answer. We just sit like, how long do we go until we know we're not going to answer it?
But so now you're talking about it, making me curious how many we'd know.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. Maybe later. By the way,
we get off of this recording, I'm 1,000% going to do it.
Okay. Ryan Roberts will have some fun former Titan interviews while we're not live over this stretch, and maybe a current player too. I'll just throw that tease out there. So Ryan Roberts doing some fun stuff here as well. But that's it for us. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai, the Bone and Joint Institute, Barton Drury Insurance Group, and also Lipscomb University in their sports analytics program. That is it for us. Make sure you hit that like button, like the show. Thank you guys, and we'll catch you after the holiday. Be safe. Appreciate it.